go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 2019 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, Town of Carmel. Board members' names are in front of you. We're short two folks this evening, so a couple applicants have decided to hold over their case. Town Code Enforcement Officer Mike Carnaz is with us, as well as Greg Polchetti, Town Council. The way we operate is we'll hear the case. I'll ask you to come up. I'll swear you in unless you're a lawyer. And we'll hear the case, and we'll go around and ask questions from the board. Then I'll open it to the public for any input or questions. Once we close the hearing, there's no further input from the public, so please respect that. Will you all please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so like I mentioned before, the couple applicants are looking to be held over is number 4. This evening on the agenda is James and Tina Milliker. I'll look for a motion to hold that over.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then carried. We'll hold that over. And application number 5, Carrie Ubertis. I'll look for a motion to hold that over.
Moved.
So-
Sorry. So moved.
Seconded by Rose. Or by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. So if anybody's here for those 2 applications, they won't be heard tonight. All right, so our first application is a holdover, and it's Holton Royer, Yenham Studio LLC, for a variation of section 156.20, seeking permission to install a continuous 8-foot deer fence 40 feet from the property boundary, 20 feet from side and rear property boundaries, and the property is located at 240 Washington Road, Carmel, New York, 10512, tax map 54-126. And remind me of your name. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Good evening. My name is Thomas Wright.
Address, please.
24 Grove Street in Beacon, New York.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. All right, so last month, you were here. We asked for a little more detail on the proposed fence. It looks like you...
I did, yeah, I brought
Brought a
some
mock-up?
visual aids. Yeah. Also wanted to mention that after the hearing last month, met with a couple of neighbors who wanted to know more about the fence, expressed concerns. Actually I should say they expressed that they were fine with the fence, but had some other issues. One neighbor had some issues with drainage impacting his driveway. So these are things that we just wanted to, on behalf of the applicant, wanted to say that we're open to discussing those issues, and as well as any issues with any of the neighbors. And there has been other discussions with some of the neighbors who are here this evening. So
Okay.
just wanted to reiterate that.
All right, we appreciate that, but however, the only thing in front of us is
Absolutely.
the fence. So
Yeah,
any
absolutely.
other issues, really, none of this board's concern, nor
Absolutely.
is it of the town, so.
Yeah. So one of the things you had asked about or asked for was, or the main thing I think you had asked for was a little more detail on the fence. I've upgraded the drawings, and I have 5 copies here, which I'm happy to distribute. I think it would actually be a good idea if I did as an addendum to the existing application.
Thank you, Thomas. I'll take care of that.
And it dials in the material, specifies the material. First of all, with the fencing material itself, it's a Beckert brand product. It's a, I can just show it to you.
Yeah, I'll just remind everyone to speak into the microphone as clearly as possible. It's being recorded for record and for meeting minutes, so.
The sample will be helpful, everybody can see, in terms of both makeup, the construction of the fence, which is made up of 12 gauge or 12 and a half gauge galvanized wire, and also the height and the pattern. So you can see that there's quite a bit of open area with the fence itself. It's this particular manufacturer's, I think it's their most robust product for, it's called their game fence. So
What kind of material is that, Tom?
it's a galvanized steel wire, 12.5 gauge galvanized steel wire. And then this would be stretched.
You don't have to continue on.
Oh,
I
sorry.
think we get the idea, right?
Yep.
Give your arms a rest.
I think we get the idea.
Yep.
We appreciate you bringing that. That
Sure.
really helps in my mind.
So those would
No,
be
it's great.
stretched, because there were some concerns about the construction, making sure it held up. I had some extensive conversations with the rep from the manufacturer. What I included in the drawings are details that match their recommended details in terms of corners, line bracing, fence posts, so the thing will be as strong as it's intended to be. They recommend 20 to 30 feet spacing on the posts, but we've specified a 20-foot on the kind of the tighter end of that, just to make sure.
Looks good. That's a good, and you increase the diameter of the posts, so that
And
was
they
a big
are
difference.
increased, that's right. And it's a Schedule 40 pipe
Yeah.
on the bracing, so it's set into concrete as well. I think last time,
ground.
it was in the ground, but
Looks
yeah,
good.
we're set in concrete. So in terms of, I think, stability and maintenance, I'm hoping that those concerns have been
Looks great.
addressed.
Looks great.
All right, you didn't change any locations. I don't think there were any issues with the neighbors as far as that goes. Distances off the back property, there's one neighbor who had a concern about that. I thought he'd be here if he had an issue. but-
His concern, Oven Clementi, or I can't remember, but he was concerned about the location of the boundary and just wanted to make sure that we were paying attention to that. And we'd be happy to contact him again and meet him there and step it out to make sure that he understands exactly where the property boundary is and where
Okay.
this fence is going relative to the property boundary.
And I think you mentioned last time that your client, the owner, had a bad deer tick allergy. and-
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up again. But 15 years of chronic Lyme, yeah, so he's,
So he's
to say the least,
it's
sensitive
worth
about
spending
that.
the money to protect himself.
That's from his point of view. But also want to point out, wants to spend the money on plantings. Because the plantings are, it's in the drawings too, a big part of this too. He recognizes that, the plantings can help soften and make it go away, make it disappear.
Yep, I see that. Nice renderings.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, any questions from the board?
That's really nice details, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like it's
Yeah.
going to last
Okay.
for years to come. Good luck.
Mark, you good? Yeah, good, no questions. All right, at this point, I'll ask if there's any input from the public on this application. Come on up, state your name and address for the record. Come up to the podium, please, and speak into the microphone. Name and address for the record.
First name Richard, last name is Aprile, 18 Reservoir Court, Carmel, New
Raise your
York.
right hand. Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
I'm only asking a question.
Sure.
Okay.
The question I had was, what are the supporting posts made of, number one? And number two, the requirement for 8 foot versus 6 foot, is that just for an extra concern over the fact that a deer might be able to get over the 6 foot fence?
That's it, exactly.
what about the
You answered your own question. He just mentioned before, Schedule 80 or Schedule 40?
Schedule 40, it looks like.
45.
We don't have a example of the
No, but there's details on the drawings if you want to share it with,
Oh, he does have.
oh, okay.
That answers the questions.
That's good.
That's all I had.
Don't use it as a weapon. What is
No,
it?
definitely not.
Please no.
Okay, anybody else from the public? Come on up, state your name and address for the record, and I'll swear you in.
My name is Alice Walsh, 34 Reservoir Court, Carmel.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
I actually had a comment about the process. Maybe it's a question, maybe it's a comment, I'm not sure. First of all, we're happy that the farm has been sold, because it's been vacant for a long time. And we
Yeah,
look
it's
forward to
overdue.
meeting our new neighbor, and we're happy that it's going to be cleaned up. So is it appropriate at this point to ask a question about the process for the property, or are we only permitted to speak of the fence this evening?
You're welcome to ask any question, but, I mean, mostly we're just concerned with what the variance is in front of us tonight
Okay.
and for the fence.
Yes.
I mean,
okay, 'cause
if
we-
there's
we-
anything we can't answer, I'll ask you after you can meet up with Thomas, I'm sure, and he'll be glad to, I would presume.
Okay. We're
Answer any
eager
questions you
to know what the, to see the comprehensive plan for the property, hoping that it will be done or presented to the neighbors for comment in a comprehensive way, as opposed to a piecemeal way. It's a large property. There are a lot of existing buildings, and we know that there are ambitious plans for, we've not met Mr. Rower, we've spoken with him, and we look forward to meeting him. And the buildings that exist, are potentially safety and fire hazards, so,
Well,
because
I
they've been
think
abandoned for a long time.
Mr. Wright just mentioned that
So-
there's a plan to
A remediation
improve them, yeah.
plan, okay. So that's really, at this point, my only comment tonight.
Okay.
I have no comment about the specifics of the fence.
Okay.
Okay,
So
Thank you.
Thomas, if you can meet up with him after the meeting, if he's willing to, yeah, okay. Or after you're heard, you can do that, if you guys want to go outside and in the ante room and
Yep.
discuss. Any other questions or input from the public on the application? Okay, any final statements, Thomas?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
look for a motion to close the public hearing on this application.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. All
I'm
right.
sorry, actually, I do have another question, I guess. What are the next steps?
We're going to vote at the end of the meeting, so you can stick around if you'd like,
Got it.
or you can go back and, well, you're up from Newburgh, right? You might as well stick around.
Yeah, no, I'm.
We'll try to
planning
make
on
it as
sticking
quick as
around.
possible, unless this
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
has a lot to say. So, all right.
It's funny, we both pointed at the same guy.
Application number 2, Lawler? Lawler? Yeah. Come on up.
Why did you just do that?
Good evening. Just speaking to the mic if you can, all right? Name and address for the record?
James Lawler, Lawlor, 132 McGregor Drive, Mayapack.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes,
All right. Bring us through what you're looking for.
I'm looking for a variance for my shed.
Okay. How long has the shed been there for?
For 30 years since I moved there.
And it looks like it's freshly painted and
Yes.
up to snuff. I was out there the other day. There's no other place to locate it to bring it into conformance, right? There's no other property you can purchase, or,
Correct.
okay? In my opinion, it's screened, it's got enough trees behind it, and there's really no other place to put it since you're on an incline down to the lake. So, I mean, it looks like it's in decent shape, and it nestles in well right where that flat area is. I asked you, there's no other property you can purchase, right, to bring it into conformance, so I'll look for the board for any questions or concerns.
Is there any electric to the shed?
No, there is not.
Any water? Any water?
No.
Okay.
Mostly used for lawn equipment and lawn
Exactly.
furniture.
Storage.
Storage stuff, okay. Silvio, Mark?
No questions.
All right, is there any input from the public on this application? All right, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Silvio, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Stick around if you want, or channel 24 on Verizon and 90-something on Comcast.
Or you can call me tomorrow, too.
Or you can
Or
call
Okay.
Either
me.
way, if you want to hang around, though, either way.
I think I'm going to go home.
Okay,
Thank you.
Have a good night.
good luck. All right, application number 3, William Reed. Good evening,
Good evening.
and you guys are representing?
We are, yes.
Okay. State your name and address for the record.
Kayleen Zico, and my personal address are the,
I
Address.
guess your business address would be fine. You're architect?
Yep.
Okay,
So 1949 Route 9 in Garrison,
okay.
Hudson
Are
Design.
you going to be speaking as well?
If you need to answer questions.
Well, might as well bring
I
it.
am Mike Maggio, with Hudson Design, representing Mark and Andrea Reed.
Okay. And both raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, yeah, just do me a favor and speak into the microphone. It's adjustable, so you can bring it down to whatever works for you. All right, so bring us through this one.
So on behalf of William and Andrea Reed, they're requesting an 18-foot front setback and a 18-inch front setback and a 10-inch side setback for a proposed second floor addition on a non-conforming pre-existing condition.
Okay, so basically, you're going on the same footprint, but you're going up,
Correct.
like just one story, but not the whole footprint, right? It's just
No.
a portion of it?
Just a portion, yep. It's kind of, it's just the southern portion.
Just the southern.
Yeah, that's the roadside, right? Close to the roadside?
No, the southern's closer to the lake, right?
No,
No,
neither.
no?
It's kind of the
You show me, point. Right? East? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that's
there.
what I meant, like on the roadside. Okay. I know there might have been a concern for some lake views being blocked, but there's an existing stone wall that's, I think, 6 feet. And I'm
Correct,
sure it's been
and-
there from the early century, when that was all one complex. That was all one property with the mansion that was redone a couple of years ago, and
Oh, that over
Dr. Silver's house was the studio, I believe, for that whole
correct.
property.
We're kind of in between both of them.
Right.
Right.
And then across the street, there is an existing home, but they don't have much of a view. There's very tall trees, both on their property and on this property. And even if we were to take the trees down, I don't believe that we would be blocking their view with this addition, because we're more to the kind of yard side of their lot than in front of their home.
Right. Okay, there's no other property you can buy to bring it into conformance, and you're basically going up on the same footprint, so it's what's existing. It's not an extreme variance, it's actually inches on one side.
foot on the other.
So, all right, I'll go to the board with any questions. Start from this end. Warren?
No questions.
No questions.
What is the height of the addition?
The addition's adding 8 feet in height.
8 feet?
And that's including the roof?
Correct. Yep,
Top of the
we're
ridge.
actually going with a lower profile flat roof versus they have a hipped roof now.
Man's worst invention, flat roofs.
The snowstorms love it.
John,
Is the entire, that's the old Mediterranean house, correct? Has a
do me a favor, John?
clay roof?
Not the green roof.
Not the
No.
green,
No.
it's not the, it's not that house.
Nope.
Yeah, the green roof is
If I'm on the road, it's to the left of that house?
Dr. Silver's.
You know where the big mansion is on the corner? Right next to it.
Oh, I got you. Because it came up with different. Oh, yeah. No questions.
All right. Yeah, you're not affecting your septic or anything, it's all existing.
Nope, we're actually reducing bedroom count or maintaining, depending on how the health
Is
department
the house
views.
vacant now? Because when I went up there, I knocked on the door just to present myself, and it looked like it was
The-
empty inside.
Yeah, the owners are living in Texas currently, so we're here on their behalf. They'll be moving in likely when renovations are done.
Okay. Any input from the public on this application? I know we've got a neighbor, right? A concerned neighbor, you're all good? Come on up. Come on up if you got any questions or concerns. I got to swear you in and get your name and address.
Next door neighbor, Rocky Ricardelli, 636 North Lake Boulevard.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do,
Thank you.
right. When would it start?
Well, pending an approval from the zoning, then the wetlands approval. Shortly after that, we'll start some selective demolition.
Just do me a favor, talking to the mic, and address the board, if you both
Sorry.
can. Just come through us as,
The construction would start obviously after the approvals from zoning and then the wetlands approval. So I'm not sure how long that process will take.
Mike, he's got to go through ECB here as well, right?
Correct, and Board of Health would be your third,
Sure,
just so you know,
sure.
that's an additional.
I guess a couple of months would be starting for the demolition portion of it, and then obviously the rebuilding.
Okay, so you'll have a peaceful summer? Is that what you're concerned about?
No, not really. I just wanted to know when it would start and when it might be finished, that's all.
Okay.
I don't
It's a
I'm not
real
sure.
nice design if you want to take a look at the drawings, and, but, you know, do it after we, if you guys want.
Yeah, I'm not sure the duration of the construction yet. We haven't finalized that with the final drawing and things like that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're not going to change anything to change a variance?
No,
So
no,
it's- yeah,
no,
okay.
it's just probably interior things, if anything,
Okay.
so.
All right, any other input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Sylvia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, thanks, guys, for your time.
Thank you.
I have to recuse myself from the next one.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Did we know that?
Sorry.
Unanimous.
Oh, is that a problem? Well, do I need to recuse myself?
If you feel like you
You
should,
have to, you have to.
you have to.
If you're going to, you should, don't be on dais for discussion and all that, it's this kind of thing.
You can sit right even there.
You said you would have to. We're missing somebody.
All right, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Daniel?
Daniel Iveza?
Avija.
Iveza. Oh, this is you, Joel? Oh, come on up. I'm wondering who's, come on up. Name, address for the record.
Joel Greenberg, 2 Musket Road, North Mahopac, New York.
Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Basically, if you recall, just probably about 10 months ago or so, this board granted a variance to rebuild the existing barns. If you've been up to the site, you'll see that portion over here that we asked to be rebuilt is a fairly steep slope. Oh, excuse me.
Johnson, say Joel, keep
Yeah.
talking to Mike.
I'm sorry. Has a fairly steep slope, so what we'd like to do basically is to just put the barns on a more level area, if you've been up to the site, in the rear of the property. What we did was basically is to take the area that we originally had, which was approximately almost a little under 1,700 square feet, and by putting it from 2 barns into 1 barn over the areas in the back here, we reduced it down to a little over 1,500 square feet. We also have, which I'll hand out, a letter from the immediate neighbor, Mr. Finn, who owns the property right next door, which is also in a commercial zone.
Thanks, Joe.
Oops, no, you're good.
And basically, if you read Mr. Thim's letter, he indicated, which I think this board also mentioned at the last time we came before the board regarding this project, is to make sure that there was some landscaping along the rear of the property. So I pulled back the line of the existing barns and matched it to the corner barn over here so that we have at least enough room, at least minimum of 4 feet, to provide landscaping as Mr. Thim had requested. So there'll be a whole series of landscaping along the rear of the barn facing onto Mr. Thim's property.
What do you think you're putting there, Joel?
Well, probably
kind
something
of
like arborvitae, something that goes up tall and thin. But again, I would, obviously, if that becomes part of the condition, there's no problem.
If you're offering it, we're gonna condition it.
Really?
If you build it, they will come. No, but I mean, we should
Plus
establish
your
a
neighbor
certain height, I would think. That would be agreeable.
For the arborvitae's?
Yeah.
Arborvitae's, well, say about 4 or 5 feet to start
I
with.
was gonna say
6 to
6
8.
feet.
All right,
It'll
that's
grow
fine.
into 8 to 10 feet, maybe, if it's the right ones. I'm talking about the,
I know which ones. All right, so, yes, 6 feet is certainly, I think it's
You're a landscaper.
reasonable.
6 to 8 feet.
6 to 8 feet? Okay.
Yeah.
You can just put that in the...
Giant arborvitae's.
Say it again?
Giant
Okay,
arborvitae's,
that's
6
the
to
one
8
then.
So
feet.
you'll be putting the condition on it.
Yes.
So you have some sun there, so, there's some sun on that.
Actually, yes, there is.
Yeah, so
They'll grow
they'll
nicely
work.
there. yeah.
So Joel, what's the actual configuration of the new?
You want a detail, you mean, of the,
Originally, the barn was this
right?
and this, so we eliminated this and just made it one barn over here with the arborvitae's in the back. And this is eliminated now, which leaves it more open for...
Oh, okay, so then this is just a cutoff, I didn't see the, I'm saying that the
yes,
dimensions look
yes.
more square, but you're,
There's a cut line, obviously, there.
oh, it's 80 feet
Yes.
total.
He's limiting that part.
So aesthetically, it's gonna be the same
Yeah,
style,
it's,
construction?
Yes,
Of people, what they're used to, and...
yeah.
So the variance that you need for the front is on York Road.
Actually, the property actually is a corner piece, so in effect, we have
Two fronts.
front yard, and as Mike usually calls, the other two are rear yard.
Yeah, so the front is York.
Yeah. that's
Front
what I'm
is
saying.
York,
So the
yes.
frontage variance is on York, but
Correct.
you're not encroaching beyond the existing footprint of what's there now.
On either side, we're not going beyond, actually,
And actually,
on the
he's
rear
coming
yard, we're
back,
coming,
John.
coming
in.
further
Yeah, so
away,
you're making a
actually.
trade-off.
What kind of buildings are gonna be, Joe?
We're going back to a wood barn, as we originally had.
Much better.
Yes.
Like, what, stick frame?
Yeah.
Or is it not, it's not like a Butler building, right?
That's what it was, in the second discussion was, and that's why I wanted you to be clear on what it was.
No,
But now it's not. Now
Mike,
it's back.
we discussed that with Mike when it was two separate buildings, but again, once we found out what the cost of the foundation was, it just became an...
Yeah, but I mean, that keeps it in character
But
with the
it keeps it
neighborhood. I
in
mean,
character, and
Red Mills was a,
if you recall, and John, you probably recall, and Mike certainly recalls, what the original barns were, which were wood to begin with.
True barns.
True
You know,
barn, yeah.
True barn looking, red
Yeah.
barns.
Well-
I was too busy getting candy from Grady's. No, I'm kidding, but, yeah, no, I remember that.
Okay.
Is there a detail on the plan that, in front of the board?
Yeah, it shows
Yeah, the
the
second page has,
a wood barn.
Good. That just-
Because that's
So
what
when
we're
you,
looking
when
for.
you make your, if you make an approval, the condition should be as shown on the plans. This way you're
As shown
referencing
on
the
the
plan, and
plans,
there's
and
no
then we'll
question.
do
If he
all-
wants
And
to
the-
change it, it comes back to you for discussion.
And John is going to do the landscaping.
Key cut and date, revision date, everything.
This way, if there's any changes and they want to change it, they just come back to you and say, we're doing this barn instead, and they can do that too, but at least we have something to reference.
this is what's been submitted. so-
Correct,
That's
that's correct.
Okay, there's no other property that can be bought to bring into conformance? It's
Correct.
The usual, so. All right, any questions from the board members?
That exterior wood, that's a cedar wood?
Yeah, probably be cedar.
Cedar.
Yeah.
Stained, painted, or natural?
I would say, I think stain would probably look nice in that area, yeah. I mean, well, but keeping it with a varnish color,
Yeah.
not necessarily a very dark color.
No other questions, John?
No questions, Joe.
No questions. Good. All right, any input or questions from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved, since Rose isn't here.
Seconded?
Second.
By Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, Joel. Oh, and you're the next application as well, right?
Oh, that's why he's...
All right. Rose is back.
He's
Sorry,
already
application
sworn.
number Scott LeBaron for variation of section 15615, seeking permission to construct a freestanding two-car garage. Property is located 7 Curry Road, Mahopac, New York, 10541, tax map 53.12-1-4.
I'm still
I don't
sworn.
need to swear you in, buddy, so what do you got?
Okay, basically, and I think, John, Mr. LeBaron indicated you've been out to the property. It's a very sort of odd-shaped piece of property. This is Mr. LeBaron's house, and what he's proposing is to put a two-car garage. Again, this is the rear yard, which conforms to the 20-foot requirement for an accessory building. The side yard also requires 20 feet, but we'd like to maintain at least 10 feet between the existing house and the garage. So we're asking for a 5-foot variance. So we're going to be 15 feet from the property line versus the 20. So the variance requirement is 5 feet.
Okay, there's no other property you can buy to bring it into conformance, correct?
No, if you were out there, you'll see that it's every piece of property is all built upon. Also, we have I only have one copy, but I can just read it and then I'll give
Yeah,
it to the
just read it
chairman.
if it's short enough.
Yeah, it's very short. It's only 10 pages.
And it's from the neighbor
It's from the neighbor,
right
yes.
behind?
Yes. To whom it may concern, this is Robert and Denise Altero, residing at 3 Curry Road, are aware of Scott LeBaron's wanting to construct a 2-car garage on his property. We, as his neighbors, have no problem with this. It's a great idea.
Okay. Is it signed or?
Sign Joe Greenberg.
All 10 pages of it. It's not Juan Epstein?
Epstein's mom.
Epstein's mom.
Technically, he is a neighbor, just a couple of miles away, that's all.
All right, we'll put that in the record. So you talked to all the other neighbors, there's no issues with that. I did meet Mr. LeBaron out there the other day. I guess he's a mechanic by trade, but also by hobby, so he intends to put a lift in that's gonna be, mechanical for the car, so it's for heavy-duty use, from what I could tell, and,
I think one other thing that we did show on the plan there is, obviously, since he's a mechanic, he would like to be able to put a sink to keep himself clean. and
yes, he did
not
mention that.
messy up
and-
the house.
And, to me, it makes sense. You wanna wash your hands, you're working on greasy mechanical equipment, so I don't think there's an intention for an apartment here.
I don't think so.
That could help, right?
Well, take your cue.
Boom. All right, any questions from the board? Mark?
No questions.
No.
Rose?
Joel, when I went out there, I noticed a little cottage, and I thought it was the frame garage that existed before.
Yes,
He changed the garage to a little cottage?
yes,
So it's now living space?
yes.
How long has it been like that?
I don't know, I moved in 2003, and
Okay.
it was already...
Yeah, Scott, if you're gonna speak, come on up, I gotta swear you.
Yeah, I
State
moved
your
in
name and address. for the record.
2003.
Hold on.
Hold your hand up first.
State your name and address for the record.
My name's Scott LeBaron, 7 Curry Road,
You're the
Fairfax,
owner.
New York.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So,
Explain.
yeah, I moved in 2003, and it was already there. Actually, I rented it from the guy. It was an apartment, and I rented it from the guy. And then he had all kinds of problems, and I ended up having to buy it from him, buy the whole place, so.
Nice. So it's pre-existing, non-conforming,
Michael,
I would guess?
Michael, do you have to do anything?
It would have been picked up as, if such.
So it says one-family dwelling with apartment and barn
So it's over there.
On the application,
on the application.
but not on the survey?
No, I'm just telling you, that's what it
Okay.
says on here. Originally, when you said, I didn't have the file in front of me, remember? We were
Right,
talking-
right, we were talking
and
about it.
I didn't know, so there's another barn besides the apartment?
No.
So why would you raise
just the
one-family dwelling with apartment and barn? Is there an apartment in the one-family dwelling?
That's the cottage.
No, just a house and a cottage.
That's not worded very well, to be honest.
I mean,
That implies that there's a
Oh,
one-family dwelling with
okay,
apartment.
no, I'm sorry, that's my fault. I don't know why that is on there, that's incorrect. What you saw there is exactly what's there, his house and the cottage, period. And there's also a shed on the back, which is gonna be removed once the garage is built.
Shed's gonna be removed.
Shed in the back, yes, will be removed.
Do you have to do anything about that cottage? Do you have to check it out because it's now an apartment?
Well, he says it's always been one. I'll check to make sure before I issue anything, of course, but, yeah. we'll
Okay.
take a look at it.
Okay.
It would be picked up on title search, right? It was-
Oh, yeah, when Mr. LeBaron bought it, I would assume that you had a title search?
yeah, and I made the guy, it wasn't legal when I bought it, and I made the guy make it a legal accessory apartment,
Okay.
part of the closing.
Do you know his name? by any chance?
Don O'Mara. Donald O'Mara?
You don't recognize the name? You don't recognize the name?
I did, but I don't know why.
All right, well, we can approve it if we do, subject to, Mike, subject to conformance, or this being pre-existing non-conforming.
Well, if not, they will be back here.
Next month.
To clean that up.
Well, it was a garage, so it pre-existed as a garage.
So did my house had a garage that was converted to a
And you're
cottage when
allowed
the
to do
house was
that.
done, so.
without going to zoning board.
You're allowed to change a garage to a cottage now?
Always. If it was existing in 1998, you were allowed to convert it to an apartment.
So if it's prior, after
Any-
98, you can't do it, so he can't do it to this
You
structure.
can't build a structure and put it, but if the structure's there in 1998, you're allowed to do it.
Okay, so that's probably what happened when you had this title section. Yeah, okay. No problem. Well, we can check, Mike, to see when that
Absolutely.
one was built.
I'll
That will
verify.
answer the question. Okay.
Well, if they have a CO, then I already checked.
Yeah, oh, that's right, yeah, you did. That's right, you did check. Yeah, so it's checked.
Anything else, Rose?
That's it?
Johnny?
Yeah, just a question on the electrical service to the proposed garage. Is that overhead? Or how are you going to supply the service?
It'll come from the existing house across to the barn.
Overhead or underground?
Well, we'll see. If we don't hit too much rock, maybe we'll put it underground.
You got a lot of rock there.
Okay, so
A lot of rock there.
John can attest to that, he was out there.
It was pretty much a bare
We'll try.
rock ledge there.
And you're going to access the garage, like there'll be some type of driveway that sort of splits the septic tank and septic area? How does that work?
He explained it to me. He's gonna
Oh, he
have
did,
it go
okay.
around the septic along the property line.
Like
Down
like
this way?
this?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah,
Right down
yeah,
there?
so it will not affect the tank or the fields.
Mother, daughter,
Thank you,
has to be attached
How
to
big
the
is the lot?
free access between the two
It
units.
is
Said in, I didn't know.
1.3 acres. It's a fairly nice sized lot.
Okay.
Actually, 1.321 acres.
To be exact.
And we're going to be exact, of course. It's a zoning board.
All right, any other questions from the board? Any questions or input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded by
Second.
Silvio, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. You guys want to take a break at all, or
You can
go right
ahead.
through?
You can go right through.
All right, at this point, I'll remind everyone, there's no input from the public on any application. So, all right, application number one, Holton Rower, I'll look for a motion,
Motion to grant.
and seconded by
Second.
John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, granted. Number two, Lawler, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's granted. Application number three, William Reed, look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's granted. Number four, Milliker was held over. Number five, Hubertus was held over. Number six, Daniel Avisage, look for a motion.
I'm recusing myself.
Understood? Motion?
Motion to grant
With.
with the condition of planting the giant arborvitaes on that southwest face of the barn.
Can you just tell me how many, please?
Oh, just so
And the height?
it's screened, so in other words, when you plant them, they're already touching for the.
Length of the building, 80 feet?
So 3 feet on center, the length of the building, 6 feet tall, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly
If
what
it's a
he said.
6 to 8 footer, it's around that.
3
6
foot
to
on
8 foot in
center, 6
height.
to 8 feet.
What else is he? That's why I'm not doing
They
it.
should be touching, just touching. Yeah,
Correct. 3 feet on center will.
3 feet on
be close
center
to
will do it.
touching, and if not, they'll touch shortly. so.
yes. Thank you.
And the
Thank
run
No,
of,
It's just, it's easier for me to enforce if it's specific.
you. Sure.
If you just say trees, it's like 2.
and run the
Oh, yeah,
length
yeah,
of the
yeah.
building, which is 80 feet.
Yeah, to cover the full run of that whole side.
And there's one more, and you have to make sure that it matches what's in the plan, John, just helping you out here.
And when it matches in the plan.
And the building shall be constructed as shown on plan.
Of what was
What's that
submitted for
plan number?
application.
Okay, submit application.
And I'll second that, John, because that was great.
All right.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Any other
I'm trying to
further
help you.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What'd
Oh,
you say?
sorry. Not I.
No, not I.
Not I.
Scratch that for Rose. All
Not
right.
I.
And finally, number 7, LeBaron, look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
With the condition to
Oh.
remove the shed?
Is the shed legal?
He said he was gonna remove it anyway. He was offering to.
I'll amend,
He was offering, so.
No, I understand, but it's not something that doesn't comply. It's kind of
Okay,
not right
that's
to
fine.
condition it, but if he is taking it down anyway, it's fine.
As volunteered by the applicant.
should I amend it then?
It's up to you, I don't.
Counsel?
No, if he's volunteered to do it, and
Okay.
that's part
We'll-
of
we'll
your
leave it as it is.
considerations in the application and the review process, that's one thing. Okay, it's not being taken down just because it's not conforming or not permitted.
We'll keep it as is.
Okay, do I have a second to the motion?
I second it, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting minutes from March. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept as amended.
And you had some
I had a couple of minor
that you sent to
changes.
Dawn?
Yep,
Okay.
I
Any
think
other
Dawn
input?
said she made the changes, right?
yes.
Yeah, I think that said in her note.
Okay.
Any other input? All right,
I'll second it.
yeah, thank you.
You're
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a great spring. Hope the allergies don't kill you. Happy Mother's Day. Especially to you, Joel.
I'm gonna go watch some draft. I don't get any pics for a while, though.
Folders up.
Can we put